Welcome back, folks. Now let's take a brief moment to recap what happened in Potters Athletics last week. Our boys soccer team hosted their annual Morton Invite this weekend. They defeated Batavia 1-0 in their Friday opener, moving on to play Edwardsville in Game 2, winning 2-0, advancing to the championship where they defeated West Aurora on penalty kicks, walking away with the championship trophy for the first time in program history. This has also led them to being ranked number 4 in the state in the most recent Chicagoland soccer poll. Congrats. Now let's take a brief minute and hear from Coach DeLong on the results this weekend.
All right, back here on our MPTV Coaches Show with Morton Soccer Coach Tori Long. Coach, tournament win over the weekend. First time you've won your own tournament here in Morton. First time in 21 years.
Yeah, I was actually going through and trying to find the list of the history of things because there's a couple blank years there, and felt pretty good to go ahead and put Morton down for 2022 because it's just never happened before. That's just how competitive the tournament can be with the good teams that come down here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one thing that's worth noting is you're bringing teams, from the Chicago area. You bring teams from, obviously mentioned when we had John earlier, Rockford, and then obviously academy type teams like Gateway Legacy. So just real quick, just talk about how significant it is to beat teams at that level. Maybe looking forward when you see, obviously there's goals to win a state championship. You're playing that level of competition.
Well, each team we played this year, Batavia, West Aurora, and having a brain fart all of a sudden, Edwardsville, our large school teams. They're 3A teams in the soccer. We have 3 classes in soccer, 1A, 2A, 3A. And so here we are, we got just over 1,000 people, and we're competing against schools with 1,800 to 2,000 kids. And so just getting 3 wins against 3A teams is good enough, but then they're quality teams as well. So it is a huge boost for our kids.
And let's specifically just talk about that championship game against West Aurora. I mean, it's a 1-1 game, and then you win it in PKs. Just kind of take us to the sideline. What are you thinking throughout all that?
We're just trying to hang on. West Aurora completely outplayed us, no doubt. And soccer could be a very, very cruel game where sometimes the better team doesn't win. And so we were down 1-0 with roughly 2 minutes left, and we got a late goal in as we were pushing numbers up and just taking chances. There's one point I looked at my assistant and said, losing 3-0, 4-0 doesn't matter. It's still a loss. We got to just take risks. And so we threw bodies up top and started playing a little longer, and we got one in. And then we bunkered in for 2 minutes and held on for the shootout. And big saves from our goalkeeper and big shots for bearing things in the PK shootout. And so definitely we probably feel like we stole something, but that's soccer. Sometimes the better team doesn't win, and to beat a team that's better than you is a nice thing to just put a notch in the belt on.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, we congratulate you, and we'll go back to our recap of Potter Sports right after this.
Thanks.
Thanks, Coach Long, for that update. So our boys golf team last week had a triangular conference match with Washington and Pekin, where they came in 3rd place. Our girls golf team also had a triangular with those same 2 teams, Washington and Pekin, where they putted their way to a victory in Middle Illini play. The Lady Potters also competed at the U-High Invite, where they had a team score of 347, led by Racon Breakers 78.
On the girls' tennis side, unfortunately, they were rained out down in Edwardsville, but were able to salvage a few exhibition matches against Maine South. Girls volleyball competed in the Centennial Charger Invite on Saturday. They defeated Pontiac, but also lost a close match to Mascoutah. But all in all, a good weekend.
Yeah, our Potter Sports are having some really good opportunities this fall, aren't they?
Absolutely. And next up, cross country.
Yeah, our cross country teams finally opened their season this week at the Silver Streak Cross Country Invite up in Galesburg. The boys brought home 1st place, led behind a 2nd place finish from Josh Weeks, a 3rd place finish from Chase Sauter, an 8th place Jonas Wootrich, and a 9th place from Nicholas Delgado. Way to go, guys.
Flip it to the girls' side. Morton finished 3rd with a 9th place finish from Sophie Kruger, 19th from Tegan Beyer, and 27th from Ava Burgess. Congrats to both cross-country teams on a great start to the 2022 season.
Yeah, and we're going to get to hear from Coach Zeller here in a little bit, which will be pretty awesome, won't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Coach, the Hogs got their first win of the season this Friday night, something that's really been awaited here in Morton, with a 45-13 win over Peoria Richwoods. So what are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I think everyone's going to talk about the 45 points, which which obviously was great. But I think it's really important to talk about defense. I mean, essentially, Richwood scored on 2 plays. One, they scored on a long run where they ran a play that we hadn't seen, or at least a blocking scheme we hadn't seen. So obviously, we made some quick adjustments after that and pretty much shut down the running game. And they hit a long pass where just our communication on the back half of the defense needs to get a little better. And obviously, that's a focus in practice this week. But I mean, I love the big play potential on offense. Carl Whitaker and Brent Michael both with 30-plus yard runs. So all in all, a really good night for the Potters.
Yeah, it really looked like, we started to put everything together there. Everything kind of fixed some of those issues that happened in week 1, bounced back with a big win. So I had the ability to catch up with Coach Briley yesterday a little bit, just real quick, just to get his thoughts on that game, and then looking forward to the Canton game. What are your thoughts on that Canton game, which is going to be at home Friday night, 7:30 p.m. If you can't make it to Carper Field, obviously you can always watch on MPTV, but what are your thoughts, Coach Lindley?
Yeah, I mean, I think Canton's a different type of challenge. I mean, we played Richwoods, and we just talked about, like, they're primarily a running team, and we did a great job against that. Canton's going to come in, they're going to be primarily a passing team. Now, it's going to be a little different than week 1, where you saw a Mahomet team that liked to throw it, but they threw it downfield. Canton is kind of the classic, like, West Coast offense, right? Short passes, roll out the quarterback, try to, pass for 5 and run for 15 after that. So it'll be a different challenge, but I think our guys are getting ready for it.
Yeah, well, thanks for that update. So we had the ability this week to talk to, as we told you already, Coach Briley and Coach DeLong. Not only that, but we had the opportunity to sit down with Coach Zeller, did we not?
Yeah, absolutely. Great time to actually, we didn't really sit. We went and walked the track.
We mixed it up a little bit.
So we're gonna go out and we'll walk the track a little bit with Joe Zeller and hear a little bit about the Morton Cross Country results.
Thank you.
Back here on our MPTV Coaches Show, Ryan Lindley here with head cross country coach Joe Zeller. Coach, let's just talk about this. You opened up the season this past weekend at Galesburg. How'd it go?
Went well. We had a good showing for both the boys and the girls teams. The boys ended up coming away with a win. 13 teams there, so getting first out of 13 isn't a bad way to start off our year. Our girls placed 3rd, which is actually really big for them because the competition that we saw at Galesburg is going to be a lot of our competition that we're going to see at our sectional meet later in the year.
So we're on the track, as people can probably see. We're taking a nice little walk out here, try something different. Talk to me a little bit. I feel like one thing people don't know about cross country is about kind of the training regimen. Like, how do you go about practice? I mean, I think some people assume you just go out and run like 8 miles every day, and it's not exactly that, is it?
Sure. Yeah, not quite exactly. I think one of the big differences between coaching other sports versus cross country is that there's more of an art to coaching, football or basketball versus cross country and track. There's more science to it, right? We're really focused on what can we do to best train the different physiological systems. So obviously for cross country, aerobics is where it's at, but we also need to get things in there like lactate thresholds and speed work as well. So it's really kind of trying to figure out how we can fit the puzzle pieces together, because we can't do back-to-back aerobic days because we just won't be recovered and won't get the the benefits from that recovery that we need. So it's fitting those days together and then backing up against some type of speed workout or whatever, and then getting us obviously primed for races. So it's just all it's one big puzzle kind of working through.
One other thing that I've always really kind of been impressed with cross country is just the opportunity where that self-motivation, right? Kids are trying for PRs. I mean, you got a great group, obviously, that have that ability to be a sectional champion, maybe even be a state champion. But talk about those kids that really are out here and they're working hard just to, reduce that mile time by 30 seconds, from the start of the season to the end.
Yeah, sure. So I think that cross country is one of those unique sports where there's obviously a team component to it, but there's also that individual component as well. One thing that we've been talking about coming off this first race is focusing on not necessarily comparing ourselves to everyone around us, but really what can we do to better ourselves in each race. So yeah, it's fun to see them because every person on the team, if they're in our varsity or not, has that opportunity to still find success by reaching their peak fitness and having their best race. So it makes it so that everyone is a valued member of that team, not just the people that are going to be in our top 7 scoring points for us that day.
So one last question, we'll get you out of here, Coach. Just talk to me a little bit about goals for the season. I mean, if we get to the end of this season, you feel like it's been a successful season and kind of fill in the blank there.
For me personally, it's all about building that community of runners. If we have guys and girls that come out of this situation, having enjoyed the experience and feeling like they have developed some relationships in the team and then maybe have fostered, this this kind of lifelong, love of running, like that's our goal. But we met at the beginning of the summer to have what we called a varsity summit to set goals for the season, where the kids were able to set the goals. And for the girls, their goal was to be in top 3 at conference again, and then qualify for the state meet. The boys, on the other hand, their goal again is to win conference and then go back and get another trophy at state. Both of them are lofty goals. Both of them will challenge us this year, but both of them, I think, are things that we can attain.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us.
All right, Ryan. So we had a chance to hear from Coach Briley, Coach DeLong, and a nice walk around the track on a gorgeous morning with Coach Zeller. Always a good time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I got my steps in. My Apple Watch was going, so I appreciate it.
It's a positive. You got to get those workouts in early in the morning as we get a little bit older. So obviously this week we have a football game, 7:30 p.m. on Carpet Field. If you can't make it out there, always tune in to MPTV and the NFHS network. In conjunction with that, if you really like our show and you really like MPTV and a lot of things that are happening here at Morton High School and the Morton Community School District 709, subscribe to MPTV on YouTube. Every subscribe matters for us. And Coach, what are your final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, just obviously a great week. Big thank yous to everybody this week. I mean, a fully packed show, 3 guests. So big thank you, obviously, to Coach Zeller for taking us around the track and hearing about the cross-country team. Thank you to Coach Briley and Coach DeLong for sitting down with us again. Big thank you here to Eric Myers for all of his work, both on screen and all his hard work behind the scenes. And a big thank you to everybody at MPTV, and thank you to all of you who have started to subscribe and tune in each week. We really love doing this, and we hope you'll be back with us next week for our MPTV Coaches Show. So for Eric Myers, I'm Ryan Lindley. Goodbye, everybody.